There it is.
Hey,
There it is.
they said I wouldn't make it. They said I wouldn't be here today. They said I'd never amount to anything.
Come on, man.
But I'm glad to say that I'm on my way. And I'm growing more and more each day. I'm still holding on. Ooh. Walk with me, family.
Ooh, yes, sir. Yes,
Still holding on
sir.
in 2020, Brother Lean. You understand me?
Back again.
I'm
Back
still
again.
holding on in 2020.
Hey, man, that right there, man,
Got
is,
to hold on.
when I was heavily in the church, man, even as a grown man, even as a man with knowledge, even as a man who went to Islam, I still was making my way to the church, knowing that any house of gathering for the specific purpose of spiritual understanding is a place that I wanted to be. That song, when they got in that choir, man, and let loose, man, that always touched me and moved me, man.
Uh-oh.
And it made me, thankful, man. It brought tears to my eyes, boy. You got one, boy.
Well, your brother done struck a chord then.
I'm trying to tell you, man. This is what God loves, as they say, man. This is the truth.
And the truth shall
make you free.
make you. Come on now. It's going to make you. As long as you deal with it now.
And that is the spirit we come in, the spirit of truth, as we welcome you back to another episode of Walk With Me.
Walk With Me podcast. You see, we are here. I am your brother's second son. That's second son, second with a K,
Yes, sir.
because I am
Carolyn's.
second son.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I am officially known as Barleen. If you know me by my government, then you really know me.
Lean on me.
That's what we're gonna do, man. We came to lean on it, man, with the truth, understanding, knowledge, wisdom, and power. And we are back with this piece
And live.
of information or knowledge, the 12 powers of man.
Yes. Feel
Well,
like it's been a little second.
It has, man. I also want to say, before we get in, I want to say, if you are tuned in right now on the press box, YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and share. But I also have to say, while you're on YouTube, type in what my brother said, second son, the second with a K, son with a U, and subscribe to that channel, because in the meantime, in between time, the brother is going to get over there with a bunch of jewelry, and he's just going to drop it on you. Just continuously drop jewels,
Bling,
man.
bling.
And if you're there, you have no choice but to pick it up.
Bling, bling. That's
It's
it.
not hard to do. You just bend over with your ear and your heart and pick it up, man. You will understand, because that's what we came to do. We didn't come to give you a whole bunch of meat, potatoes, and fish that, with a bunch of bones in it. No, we came to simplify, to give you some filet.
Make it plain.
Yeah, some filet with some mashed potatoes that a baby can eat and have an understanding as well.
Mush.
Because, right now, how they say, we're in troubling times. That's what the preacher would say.
Hey. Come on now.
We are in troubling times.
Come on now.
But
Yeah.
you must lean in on the Lord. And I'm talking about the Lord of the universe.
Lean not to thine own
Understanding.
But you got to lean on, like the good brother say, the universal God. You see, understanding. Because understanding is a part of the topic that we'll be going into today. See?
It is. It is,
Walk
man.
with me.
Hey, man, y'all know when I was a little young boy, because like you said, church baby.
Yeah.
I also, it was a Sunday, man, we had to go to church. It's a Sunday. We're Sunday right now. It is the 5th of April, am I correct?
April 5.
You
We
know,
live.
so this is a Sunday, man, and I just got a church feeling, today. I woke up with it, man, on my heart. But we go to church, and as I was, reading the book and listening to the preacher all the time, man, something spoke to me, and it told me that I should ask for knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And I always made that my prayer. I didn't know that I was really going to be tapping into something that would manifest as a mature adult and even into my adulthood. But I always prayed for knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And as we get into this information, I have learned in my maturation that you do get the knowledge, but you don't go knowledge, wisdom, understanding. That's not how that happens, because you have to have the knowledge, then you gain understanding, which brings forth the wisdom. Because when I first got the knowledge, I had no wisdom.
And because that's the wisdom is equated to your action.
Facts.
Or your direction.
Facts. And my actions showed that I was much too zealous in my approach to distribute or communicate the knowledge that I had gained to the people I was talking to. I was much too blunt. I was much too forceful. I was much too just, direct and how they say
uncut, raw,
way too raw to try to have somebody to listen to me that I was trying to reach.
Yes.
But that was because I lacked wisdom. So I think we'll get into that process of the knowledge, gaining understanding and transforming that into wisdom, because it's stages and degrees that take us from one to the next. And you can't skip one.
Yes,
and that's what I was attempting to do, and it set me aback.
See, that's supreme mathematics.
Come on now.
That's what you explain. You see what I'm saying? Supreme mathematics. Meaning, you see what I'm saying? You can't take 2 from 1. You see what I'm saying? That's really what that means. Like, that's, you know what I mean? That it's impossible for you to take, 2 from 1. 1 minus 2. You know what I mean? You can't never, you can't work backwards. You know what I mean? You're going to stay in a negative. So, like the good brother saying, you got to put things into perspective, and put them into perspective is respecting law and order. See, that's exactly what the good brother is explaining right now. Law and order, because like we're saying, the knowledge, you see, is the getting to know part. But definitely you have to incorporate both understanding and wisdom both in there in order for it to be effective, in order for you to be effective, you know what I'm saying, in your doings and what you're doing. Yeah, otherwise, because like you're saying, if you in this overzealous mode, you really, it's like spinning your wheels. You wasting time, because you blowing out steam, but you're not assisting this individual in being able to see.
Yeah, and in their understanding, because the same way they say, it ain't what you do, it's how you do it. It ain't what you say, it's how you say it. So that's where, that growth process comes, and man, I'm just glad, I'm thankful, you know what I'm saying? I know it's a blessing to be here, with the brother, in front of y'all, man, to share some of this knowledge, understanding, and wisdom that brought us to this space that we are now, to sit up here, you know what I'm saying, and let us be used by the Spirit. And that's what's going on. Again, man, this is where we at, right? We right here with it. The 12 powers of man. I implore you, if you are on a spiritual journey, I implore you to go out and get this book and just read it and read it again, because these are one of the tools that you need, to get through the times that we in now, to give you, understanding on how we should be moving. Shout out to everybody that's in the IG chat room, Cocky Arrogance. Shout out to my man Uku. You know what I'm saying?
The Gap Tooth Guru.
That's him.
Peace to God.
Yeah, everything goes according to plan. We'll be right back in here tonight talking trap talking. So we'll see how they go.
All right.
But everybody hit the subscribe button, because we in here and we going in right now.
Yeah, and like you say, the times are definitely calling for a spiritual cleansing.
Mm-hmm.
You see, it's time to definitely clarify where you stand.
Facts. And if you've really been paying attention, we're talking about a spiritual cleansing.
Yeah.
If you look at the states and all over the United States, and even here where we are, as people have been set down and been made to be still, I seen a picture of California on a regular day, and you can't even see the landscape from all the, I'm sure, the emissions from the vehicles, all of the constant movement around that state. But as people are set down, you can see the sky, you can see the landscaping all around, which tells me this is a spiritual cleansing for Mother Earth. You know what I'm saying? The earth has to purify itself. And so, even though we don't absolutely know for absolute why this coronavirus is what it is, even though we can say every 100 years they bring on something else, every year they say something else is going to kill everybody. But now we can see that it's been slowed down to the level where you are not going to work. You barely can go out unless you're essential. You can't even go to church. You can't go to church, which is the first time I've ever seen that.
In a lifetime.
In a lifetime, man.
That's important. That's very important.
You know, I was watching a YouTube, and matter of fact, he was the good brother, elder, wise elder, Phil Valentine speaking. And he was saying how, you know, they're sitting everybody down. They tell us don't gather in more than 10. They tell us don't go outside. So you have to take everything with a grain of salt. But we know that going outside is not a bad thing. We all need that sunlight to come down upon us.
Fresh air.
And they also know that as we gather, what our thought processes is powerful enough to change the world. We can change the weather, and we can just change, you know, the vibration of the planet by love, let alone the love of God. So if they shut that down, you know, that's just another plot. You know what I'm saying? The plot thickens. We have to open our eyes to us to say, why are we really going through what we're going through? So I hope everybody would, you know, do your due diligence, man, and search out. You know, we know the virus is a real virus, but, you know, it's more to it than that. So I just want everybody to, you know, do a little bit more deeper digging to see, you know, how deep this rabbit hole goes, man, because I do know that no matter what evil the people of evil strive to do, they never can, you know what I'm saying, outwit that Most High.
Dude, come on,
so,
man.
and as long as we are in line with that, then we're going to be all right. There's nothing to fear. There's nothing to worry about. Just take care of our business, man. We're going to be all right.
Because, again, the spiritual cleansing is gonna, that's what combats, you see, any type of virus. I don't care what virus it is, whatever name you want to put on it before it, you see. Because we got to know this: jealousy, envy, hate, low self-esteem, you see, unforsureness, indecisiveness. These are all viruses. Come on. See, that's what we got to know, family. Like, seriously. These are viruses that has been running rampant throughout generations. You see? So, like the good brother saying, when we talking about every 100 years or every, you see what I'm saying? Pay attention to what's been sitting in our face for centuries.
Old time.
And generations. Because we got to know that all of these low vibrational spirits, like hate and envy, jealousy, you see what I'm saying?
Fear.
This unity is at the foundation of all that. Disunity. Like, there's no unity. You see? Where we know that there's power in numbers. We already know that. Just like, you see, Il Malik told us, I can take this hand, open hand, and slap you, and it'll sting a little bit. That's gonna sting, and I can put enough power behind it where it stings good enough.
Probably knock you to the ground.
But when you bring them together, see, and then that punch,
you're going to sleep.
I'm deboing. See,
You're going to sleep.
I'm deboing in the spirit realm. That's what this is all about. The 12 powers of man. You see, is being able to debo in the spirit realm. Now watch this. Being able to debo in the spirit realm means that you've went through this spiritual cleansing. You said, Lord, I want a clean heart. Remember? That's part of this, the 12 powers. The 12 powers of man series. Give me a clean heart. You see? And that clean heart is going to be able to deal, like the good brother say, in love, in the holistic principle of love. Not this kissy kissy, you know what I mean? Oh, you my cousin and I'm supposed to love you, and you my family friend from back in the yada yada. We grew up together. I supposed to love, not that love. You see, that because that's a lot of times is what you call a learned behavior love. Like you just being taught that some kind of way that that's your cousin. You supposed to love your cousin. That's your brother. That's your, you know what I mean? Whoever, and that could be the one that's assisting you in your downfall. Could be, we saying. So that wouldn't make sense. You know what I mean? The true holistic love would tell you to get as far away from somebody that's, you see, in your way of succeeding, then you can get, you know what I mean, farthest away from them as you can get. So again, when we're talking about a virus, you see, we got to know that hate, envy, jealousy, and all of that, it brings the immune system down. You see, your immune system is already being compromised. You see, already. So when we're talking about these type pandemic viruses that jump off, you are susceptible. You see, you're subject to be one of the ones that this virus can jump on and take out because you already have a weakened immune system. You see, this is what we're talking about when we're talking about the 12 powers of man. It's talking about building up your spirit man. Because as strong as your spirit man is as strong as your temple will be. The foundation is strong. You see? And when the foundation is strong, I mean you can't be shook. You see, of course, in this human experience, obstacles will come. That's life. But having the ability to fight, like Mama Harriet, you see? And the Underground Railroad participants. You see? Because we got to know that that movement is spiritual. We look at it as being, you see what I'm saying, just physical, like Mama and them, you know what I mean, Mama Harriet and them, you know, we visualize them actually in the Underground Railroad. You see what I'm saying? And that's just one part of it. There's a physical and a spiritual side to it. The spiritual side is this what we're talking about now, the 12 powers of man, building your spirit man up to where you are not susceptible to all of these low vibrational diseases. You see? That's the whole theme of this all. And when you are in operation and vibrating and walking in a high vibration as it relates to your spirit man, you combat. You see, that's that you guard, you fighting against. You see, you deboing once again any type of virus that like we saying is causing some type of degenerate, you see what I'm saying, outcome. Because that's the degenerate outcome is going to be, you see what I'm saying, you definitely operating in fear, then you scaring your family, you know what I'm saying? Because if you a parent or whatever, your energy or whatever is felt throughout, you see what I'm saying, the household, etc. You see, so now we talking about, we got whole families now that their organs
That's
are
what I
being,
was just finna
you see,
go
their,
there.
their organs are being compromised.
Every one of those
Everybody
emotions
Yes.
affect your organs a different way.
Thank you.
So every negative emotion is going to affect a negative aspect of your organ in that way. You know, your what is it? I believe the kidney is affected by fear.
Yes.
Your lungs,
They lock up.
your heart, everything negative is going to affect you in that way. But when you have aspects like love, joy, happiness, peace, that changes the whole vibration of
The
it.
best medicine in the world. You see. Now we talking about holistic living. And everything that those principles that you just named is going to give you that's going to boost your immune system.
Facts.
You see, your immune system is boosted off of love, happiness.
I go back to a story
Sunlight.
that I got. Was it this? It was December, I believe.
Okay.
This old Chinese man, he had to been every bit of in his 90s. Owned a karaoke joint. The man walked around, got up there, sung 2 songs, went outside, smoked them cigarettes. I caught him outside, man. I need to know the secret.
What you doing? What you got going?
Man told me, number 1, be happy. That's it.
Bobby McFadden.
Number 2, verbatim, don't fuck over nobody.
Ah.
Because you got to live with that in your conscience.
That's a seed. Ah.
So somebody of that type of age that lives with a mind that strong to operate a business and to move and sing and still, just move around like that and tell me the secret is happiness.
Yeah.
A smile.
And let's say it like this. Do unto others
As they do what the golden rule.
That's what
man.
it said. You see what I'm saying? That's a key, man, right there. That we don't get, family. That how you do people. You see, you have an obligation to humanity to be productive. You see, not only to your parents, your mama and your daddy and their parents, except not only just to them, to humanity. You owe it to humanity, see, to do unto others as you have them do unto you. That, man, listen, that's a golden rule that my mama spoke of a lot growing up. So I can feel the 90-year-old. You know what I mean? What you say, Chinese man?
Chinese, she was Asian, some type of Asian.
He probably one time a day eating. He ain't, you know what I'm talking about? He not eating.
And he probably been smoking cigarettes since he was 10.
Exactly.
Shit.
And on some type of herb, we know that.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
But what you were saying is, do unto others as they do unto you. Your character and how honorable you are when no one is looking is really what that's all about. Because if I say you got your back turned right here, well, let me just do this while he ain't looking. You gonna sit with that in your head and wonder,
Like you got
I
it.
wonder if he realized that I did this. So now you messed up. I'm messed up in my being because I'm stressing about what I did to you. And is you gonna come back and do it to me, because what I do to you, I also do to myself. And that's what I think we don't realize enough is how we treat everybody else, or how we feel about everybody else, or how they say, if I see something in you that I don't like, I'm just looking at a reflection of that in me.
Paranoia. That's what you just described. Yeah, and that made me. Yeah, you just made a light go out, go on. Excuse me, on that lick about how we are paranoid with each other, man. For real,
Yeah.
like, cause we so used to this dirtiness. You see what I'm saying? To where I'm automatically making you be dirty too, cause my bro, you know what I mean? My, you know what I'm saying? My partner from, you know what I'm saying? And that's going back to a spiritual cleansing. That's why it's imperative, family.
Right.
We got to clean
The
man.
reset button. You gotta hit the reset button, because people say
We lose.
We use the word karma,
Right.
and so many people don't hit that reset button because they are afraid of the shit that they did is gonna bounce back on them. And you got to realize you can't get away from it. You can't get away from that.
At all.
So you might as
That's
well
all.
be able to, whatever you dish out, be a man, be a woman, man, and be able to deal with that shit and go on and get it over with and start with a clean slate.
Whatsoever you sow, that you know the scripture.
Read.
That
Man, let
you
me
got
read
to
a little
read.
bit.
Yeah, let's
let me
read.
get into this reading a little bit on this understanding as we delve off into this.
Chapter of understanding. 12 powers of man.
I'm gonna just start at the beginning of the understanding part, and I'm gonna go. Reference to the dictionary shows the words wisdom, understanding, knowledge, and intelligence to be so closely related by their definitions that they overlap in a most confusing way. The words differ in meaning, but these words in terms that directly oppose the definition of other writers.
3 words.
I'll probably skip some reading there. But what I just read was this. Knowledge, wisdom, understanding, intelligence. These are all words in the same, we can all hold these in the same hand, because without one, you're not going to get to the other one.
Yeah.
And so as we were saying about the knowledge or whatever, which brings us to understanding. You read this part on the video, the intro to the 12 powers of man, on what Solomon in your Bible, in the good book, what he asked of the Lord.
Mm-hmm. The Lord asked him it came to him in a dream.
Came to him in a dream.
You know what I mean? That's the most intimate time that God could ever, you know what I'm saying, communicate with you.
And said, ask what I shall give thee. Solomon replied, give thy servant therefore an understanding heart to judge thy people, that I may discern between good and evil.
There it is.
He didn't ask for riches, man. He didn't ask for a whole bunch of superficial material things. He asked for something that comes from within. And that was a greater understanding. And the Lord, because he was pleased with Solomon and asked for wisdom instead of riches, said, behold, I have done according to thy word. Lo, I have given thee a wise and understanding heart. And I also have given thee that which thou hast not asked, both riches and honor.
Gave it both. He didn't even ask for that.
Nah, didn't even ask for it.
And got it.
Woke up and behold a dream, and therefore he had it. And a test of that. This is right here. This is a true test of wisdom, because you got to test people a lot of times, and this is how Solomon used his wisdom to test somebody in the Bible. We're still in that Bible. Y'all remember the story in the Bible with the 2 women were arguing over whose child it was.
Right.
And I'm not even going to read out the book. I'm just going to think about the story. 2 women arguing about the child. Both women saying, this is my child. So he asked the women, you know what? We're just going to take the child and chop him down the middle. I'm going to give you half for this baby. I'm going to give you half for the baby. So the first woman said, oh no, just give the child to her.
Ah.
The second woman said, just give me half for the baby. I take half for it. Solomon said, the woman right there who said, let the baby live, give her the baby. That's her baby.
Uh-huh.
Now that's wisdom and intuitive thinking and thinking forward to see who is who and what is what in the situation.
Discernment.
And that boils down again to this one principle of love.
Yeah.
Is what we forget and what we really lack. And
work.
empathy. You know what I'm saying? To save, you know what I'm saying, a life that I may not ever be a part of, but just to let that life continue on, I'm cool with that. You know, that's a wisdom lesson in itself.
Yes. Yes. Because again, these 4 words, we're going into the quantum, 4, wisdom, understanding, knowledge, and intelligence. They all family. You know what I'm saying? And again, when we talking supreme mathematics, you can't take one without the other. You see, that's just like a holy trinity. A holy trinity. The word holy, you see, derives from the word whole, meaning not partial, but whole. You see? So if we talking about a holy trinity, a whole one, you better incorporate my mother, father, and me.
And the child.
You see? That's holy. That's whole. You see? So again, in dealing with supreme mathematics and spiritual law, you see, it's imperative that we get these lessons and know that they all, including the 12 powers of man, they all work together in unity, you see, for our good.
Before we get off of this story, let me read again from the book. It says, the foregoing is a fine example of intuitive knowing. Instead of indulging in the usual taking of testimony and the various methods of proving the case by witnesses, Solomon appealed directly to the heart and got the truth quickly. No amount of exoteric testimony would have accomplished that appeal to love brought forth at once. What that just explained to me is he struck a heart nerve again and dealt with the aspect of love. So you can try to knowledge it up and science it up all you want to and come up with your own reasoning. But if you can tap into them love streams in the heart, you'll come to a conclusion quicker. You can come to that truth quicker if you just tap into the heart.
Going back to the heart, remember we talked about that like anciently, what the heart is. So we can know that, family, that the heart anciently, in these writings, even in what we call the Holy Bible, when the scripture is talking about heart, that heart is the cerebellum. You see?
Back to the two brains.
Absolutely. Going back to a holy trinity being the pineal represents father, you see, the pituitary represents mother, and the third eye represents the child. You see? So we got to know that when Solomon is asking for a clean heart so he can judge the people, you see what I'm saying? A purified heart. He's talking about a purified mind.
Come on, man.
See, not, I want my, you see? This is your blood pump. You see? It pumps blood. And we just getting the language, you see, corrected for the record so we can know what we talking about. Because again, we've been programmed in a foreign language. You see, it's safe to say that. And that when we going into the Holy Script and we reading the Holy Script in a foreign mindset, you see, it's impossible to extract out of it what was meant for you to get. Going back to as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. See? We talk about the cerebellum. So we don't want you to be thinking that you see the scripture is talking about this here, the blood pump. Of course, the blood pump is important. Make no mistakes about it. But in order to put these lessons into proper context, you have to resort to the science of words, etymology. You see? Or else you're doing yourself a disservice.
Yo, I'm going to skip a little bit and go back to this, but I just want to follow you and walk with you.
Walk with me.
In what you're saying. This is page 39. The relation of the head and the heart is illustrated in the lives of John the Baptist and Jesus. They were cousins. The understanding of the head bears a close relationship to the wisdom of the heart. They both received the baptism of spirit, John preceding Jesus and baptizing him. Here the natural order of spiritual illumination is illustrated. Man receives first an intellectual understanding of truth, which he transmits to his heart, where love is awakened. The Lord reveals to him that the faculty of love is the greatest of all powers of man, and that the head knowledge must decrease as the heart understanding increases. Again, you got your head, your mind, and you have your heart, and these two are so interrelated that the knowledge and understanding bounces off of each other, so to say.
Absolutely. The understanding of the head bears a close relation to the wisdom of the heart. Boy, that's heavy right there. John the Baptist and Jesus was what?
That was cousins, man.
You see? And we already know they got to be first cousins. You know what I mean? We got to put all of this into perspective. And know, again, that these characters allegorically mean something. But not as it relates to a physical man. No. You missing the total, you missing the whole lesson. Yeah, let's use that word, whole. If you are attempting to make these people, places, and things, you see, like Jerusalem, that's a place on your body. Bethlehem, you see, Egypt, Lower Egypt, Upper Egypt. This is describing your body, lower self and higher self. Bethlehem is the stomach area. You see, related to the solar plexus. You see, but we're gonna stay in the in the confinement of this lesson and not gonna veer off too far.
Why you just saying that though?
You see,
I believe it's Charles Field, if I'm not mistaken. There's another book, the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary.
Yeah, he got
I'm gonna bring that one next time.
Yeah, look,
You got him?
Yeah.
That's him right there.
Look, you gotta bring
And look,
You know what I'm saying?
if you want to gain a spiritual understanding,
Man, come
this
on.
is another one of the tools that I implore you to go get.
Come on.
You know, the knowledge that we have or that we are being able to speak upon right now is nothing that you can't attain yourself. You just have to go and get your tools. Feel your...
And you shall find.
Come on, man.
You see? You gotta seek though.
Yo.
It's not just coming to the door.
Hey,
knowledge yourself.
Ain't gonna follow
We
you.
here. We wanna wake you up. You know what I mean? We see you've been, you know what I mean, living in a 3/5 of a mindset and it's degenerate, man. We coming to save you. No, that's not how it works. How it works is the universal light, it sheds down on you. You have to have the ability to recognize it.
Oh, yeah. Come on.
Because, see, this is the key with us. You know, we're very judgmental. Now, again, we've talked about judgment during this series.
Right.
And, of course, judgment is there to protect you now. But, you know, when we're talking about the disunity that we have amongst the melanoids, we'll shun our own away way quicker than any other nationality of people. I say that, just any other nationality. We already know that the pale face, you see what I'm saying? The European, or they got a upper hand on the thing because they go back to imagination and how it was disrupted. But see, again, that light, I won't say probably 99.9 times of the time, you know what I'm saying, it's coming in an unfamiliar way. Not like, it's not dressed up like a mega pastor, you see, because or a mega church. You see, when the mega, you know, it's easy for the mega, you know what I mean, the mega movement to impress or whatever, or to be able to convince. Let's use that word. It's convincing.
We don't come with a white coat all we need is a white coat and a stethoscope.
You see?
And everybody gonna listen.
Oh yeah, that for sure. That for sure.
Hey, do me like the Hebrew. I'm about to read again. Do me like the Hebrew is.
Read.
Okay, I'm about to read. Like the Hebrew is like. Listen. So we
What
find
page is that?
this
You still on 39?
I'm on 38. I went back a little bit because I had to touch on what you was going on about the heart and the mind.
Wow.
But now you were talking about again how that understanding comes, so I got to go back to another little section.
All right.
So we find that there is no man, so we find that there is in man a knowing capacity transcending intellectual knowledge. Nearly everyone has at some point touched this hidden wisdom that has been more or less astonished at its revelation.
That's it.
It certainly is a most startling experience to find ourselves giving forth logical thoughts and words without preparation or forethought, because we nearly always arrive at our conclusions through a process of reasoning. However, the reasoning process is often so swift that we are likely to think that it is true inspiration, especially when we have received either the reflected uplift of other wise ones or the baptism of the Holy Spirit. This quickening of the intellect is the John the Baptist,
All right.
or is intellectual illumination that precedes the awakening of the ideal,
All right.
the Christ understanding.
Huh.
Some
Christ
Pardon.
is capitalized too.
Ain't-
That's
ain't
important.
man.
That's important for family to know that Christ is capitalized.
This is the last one. Some truth students become so enamored of the revelations that they receive through the head that they fail to go on to the unfoldment of the one who baptizes in the Holy Spirit and fire. The Old Testament writers had a certain understanding of the first and the second opening of the mind to spiritual truth.
The first and second opening of the mind.
This is something we done touched on before.
This is second coming.
That part, we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get to that in depth in a minute. But this is something we didn't talk on before because we've said probably numerous times how in your deep thought or in your meditative states while you driving, you don't even know what you're thinking about, and you done turn 3 times, don't even remember because you in a deep meditative state that you have come upon these divine thoughts and you don't even know where they come from. But you know it's something that has spoke to you. And so that is the light. But if you immediately put that light out, then this is as far as you go. You cannot go to further illumination.
Right.
You cut it off. So you have to be able to, and I know I've read further into this, I'm going to get into this in a minute, but you have to at least accept,
Work with it.
that light that you have is divine intelligence or divine illumination speaking to you and through you. This is the Holy Spirit that they speak of.
Talk to work with it.
We think it's something that was only 2,000 years ago for the character Jesus. But as you just said, Christ has a capital C. The Christ. Not the man Jesus, the Christ, but the Christ energy. And that which he said in the good book, that what I shall do, you shall do.
And do more.
And do more.
Do better. We paraphrase. You know what I mean? We got to know that. Now, again, as it relates to any type of virus, again, poverty is a virus. Okay?
Man, that is
We see, can we get that in our spirit? That poverty is a virus. Now, put that in the pipe, smoke on that one
Come
for
on.
a minute. Let's deal with that. Poverty. You see? Wow. Right now, as the good brothers say, it's one of these not annual, but, religious pandemics, quote unquote, going on. Now, again, there's many forms of viruses out here. We just explained that. Let's deal with poverty. And we know that poverty for the melanoids started centuries ago.
And I won't say this, but
Get it in.
that shit is hereditary.
Oh, see?
It is hereditary because it ain't even of
Ooh.
your physical state. It's in your mind.
Speak, dog.
This shit has been passed down through the hard times that our parents or grandparents went through.
Ain't
Not,
got it.
not all of us,
We ain't got it. Ain't got it.
because as we can look back and see, I'm sure everybody in that tree, not everybody, because there's always been some people that have had hard times, but a lot of our trees have branches of what's the opposite of poverty? Abundance. We can look back and see what shit. Great grandma and them, they had a pool hall and they were doing everything.
Grocery store, gas stations,
But at
car lots.
at some point in time,
You know what I mean?
mother, father, grandmother fell on the hard times and taught our mothers and fathers that it's always pulling yourself up by the bootstrap, and it's never nothing that was you know, we never nothing in us to get us out of that hole. But I just wanted to say that, man, because you on fire.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Again, you see what I'm saying? We gotta be careful, family. Like what we giving our energy to? You see, because it's a fact. A fact. Ain't no fiction about it. That as it relates to a group of people that are labeled black, the so-called black people. You see what I'm saying? Specifically, I'm talking about it right now in North America, in the wilderness of North. Let's talk about home. You see, you know what I'm talking about, going back home, etc. What about let's see if we can goddamn clean home up right here first. Is what I'm saying. You see, now that's my personal. Let's deal with this poverty right here. Like why you trying to run, and let's go back to, you know what I mean? This home too. You gonna abandon home and attempt to go save. You see what I'm saying? Something that we're not saying is not worth saving, but what about home here, North America? This virus of poverty, again, we got to deal with that, family, you see? And when we deal with it, it's imperative that we dig into the 12 powers of man to deal with it, not in emotions. Because see, emotions is the civil rights movement. Peace be upon them. You see? Peace be upon the civil rights workers, picketers, fighters, etc. We give thanks and honor for their spirit. But we got the spiritual sense enough to know now that ain't no picketing and begging and asking the enemy for nothing gonna change nothing, man.
That ain't it.
It's on you. It's on us.
This is a prime example right here, man.
You see?
We got these organizations that have aligned themselves, and their cause is reparations. So they doing all of these speeches and forming these groups, agencies, and when you break that down, you got agents asking, begging for money
from the enemy.
And so we get in the time we in right now, and all of a sudden they come up with $1 trillion. Niggas out here begging for reparations for being whipped and enslaved for 300-400 years. A quote unquote virus come up. Can't nobody go to work, and now they done came up with $1 trillion. You can't beg your enemy to do nothing for you, man. Stop playing yourself. That goes back to what my brother's saying. It's all mental, if you ask me.
Come on now.
It's mental. Poverty is a mindset. And we have to be able to say, you know what? Mama came up with an impoverished mindset. She really did have to work so many hours doing this job to provide for 3 kids because maybe daddy wasn't there. So she had to save every penny to do everything that she wanted to do. We come along, and say, I'm not living my life like this.
It's enough.
It's over with. Abundance is exactly that.
The buck stops here.
We live in a time of abundance. You have to have a mindset of, man, they print this money up quicker than you can blink your eye. So it ain't no impoverity, ain't no poverty, no, man. Only if you believe that. Because now is a prime example of those that have been having an abundance mindset. It's not a bunch of worrying going on. It's not a bunch of scrambling going on, because we've already had a mindset of the universe is at our beck and call.
Come on now.
It's at our beck and call, man. We can summon this with the right energy and the right vibration. So we are prepared for the times that we live in right now. We prepared using the 12 powers of man.
Come on now. It's real out here, son. You know what I mean? It's real out here. It's not cooked up like your favorite soap opera or fairy tale that you love to indulge in. You see, this real life out here. And there is, like the good brother said, universal laws out there, you see, available for those that find it their business to operate like Mama Harriet and them in that Underground Railroad. Again, the Underground Railroad is more mental and spiritual than you see it being physical. You see?
Come on, man.
Because these freedom fighters left a spirit around that's available for us all. You see? Now we're talking about spiritual inheritance. See? Going back to Solomon. Solomon knew what the game was because he was eating right. Oh, if he eating right, you see, that means he talking right. You see? If he talking right, the word is God. Remember? You see? So if he talking right, righteous, that means that it's obvious that when the universal God comes visit Solomon in a dream, you see, and once again, that's the most intimate time that God can communicate with anyone, is in a dream. You're resting, you see?
You know what I just thought about? I just thought about this. In the Bible, the
Read it.
good book, the Holy Bible,
Yes.
the Heliobiblios,
Yeah,
the
that's
Sun Papyrus,
That's it, that one.
it's always a plague.
Ah.
It's always a
Come on.
plague in the Bible.
Come
But
on.
you know what? The characters in the Bible, that plague never affected them.
Ooh.
Why?
Because they was spiritually healthy. Deboing.
I'm just trying to make sense out of this in
Debo.
the modern time right
Deboing.
now.
Deboing in the spirit realm. You remember that's what we keep talking about, family. Get your Debo, get your spirit man up. You see what I'm saying? Debo style. You know?
This coronavirus
That's what they were doing.
ain't nothing more than an old school plague.
Come on,
When
man.
they told the people that what they call them storehouses or what they call them
Oh, man.
they told them gather everything for the storehouses till the plague is over with. There ain't no difference from them telling you run to the grocery store and get you some water and toilet paper and everything to survive the plague.
But and see, I'm glad you said that. But while you running to get that, don't forget about your spirit, man. See now you see now is the time to see what you're working with. Cause if you indulging in a lot of, I'm gonna catch up on my show. I'm gonna go to the liquor store. We're gonna drink every day. We're gonna get our drink on. You see, if you in that mode, you see, you're defeating the purpose. You're adding to the degenerate results that we are fighting against as a whole. We talking about humanity as a whole, because as whole as humanity is as powerful that we can move through the plagues. You see, well, like the good brother saying, without really feeling like we even was in a plague.
Come on, man.
You see, but again, when you're granted this opportunity like this to sit still, you see, like the scriptures say, you're supposed to be still and know. See, know. That means not believe, but know. So that means you got to get into something. If it's your favorite shows that you get into only, if you see what I'm saying, if you're making it your business to stay intoxicated, you see, like making it your business. Like, you know what I mean? I don't want to deal with it. I mean, we're going to pull up. Let's pull up. I'm talking about, you see what I'm saying, religiously here now. We're talking about on a alcoholic type vibration here. You see?
Escapism.
There you go. You see what I'm saying? That's what
I'm
we're talking
with you.
about. If you're using it as some shape, form of escapism, you putting your spirit, man, you're in trouble. You defeating the purpose. And you're adding to, you see what I'm saying, what the corporation wants you to add to. And that's this degenerate, you see what I'm saying, result bucket over here. That the court can sit back and, you see what I'm saying, shake their hand, we got
That's why they give you
The
all
Joker
the
looking at it.
shows. Like right now we got all this downtime. They know
Pumping it up.
It's gonna be a certain amount of people that watch all of these shows and sit down and catch up on everything and put no time in the set. They know they're going to be able to live their life vicariously through the TV characters that they see. And while they doing that, they're never taking their own time to work on their own man and spirit man, because your attention has been diverted from self to escapism, whether it be through a bottle, whether it may be through a blunt, a pill, or a television screen. If you are not taking any time to deal with the here and the now, with that one in that mirror, then, because like they say on the airplane, before you put the mask on anybody, put it on yourself. So if you're not taking no
Save
time
yourself.
for self, then they know we got one that has been totally disconnected from self, and the spiritual yearning or the spiritual light that comes to you in these divine thoughts, you're going to ignore them if you can still hear them.
Ooh,
A lot of us,
because
I ain't gonna say us
You say
because I gotta separate. But a lot of people, because
There you go.
I have done work. Yes, man, and like 2 days on being able to still hear and abide by that voice in my head. You know, suppress the ego, not to do what I might want to do, but to really listen and pay attention to do what I need to do. Suppress the ego. So if they know if you have completely suppressed that voice, then you are not in tune with yourself to even receive divine revelation. And this is the part of understanding that we are now. I got another one. I'm gonna get on my Hebrew Israelite. Give me one.
Read.
Spiritual understanding shows us that the resurrection of the body from death is not to be confined to Jesus, but it is for all men who comprehend truth and apply it as Jesus applied it. He had the consciousness of the new flood of life that comes to all who open their minds and their bodies to the living word of God. And he knew that it would raise the atomic vibration of his organism above the disintegrating thought currents of the earth, and thus would save his flesh
From corruption.
Come on now.
Spiritual understanding shows us that the resurrection of the body from death is not to be confined to Jesus, but is for all men who comprehend truth and apply it as Jesus applied it. That's major right there. Apply it. That's wisdom.
Before we
Apply
get there, they always tell us this story right here. You know what we're coming up on right now?
Oh yeah, that
Easter.
the resurrection.
We're coming up on Easter. The resurrection of the Lord, the Jesus, the Christ Jesus. Where they give us this story where, he was in the cave for 3 days.
Right.
And then he came out, you know what I'm saying?
A new man.
He was gone. So they give us this story that says
Second coming.
this is specific to one man
Yeah.
in a physical form.
Right.
You have to physically die to be reborn. I am here to tell y'all that is a grave farce and twisted teaching that a lot of the preachers and spiritual leaders have given us through the time. That is not a truth right there.
At all.
You know, that rebirth of a man is not of the flesh. It's of the spiritual nature and the mental nature.
Well,
It's of the heart where the love is and the mind where the understanding and wisdom resides. And this is not just for one man. This is for everybody who opens their heart and their minds to true understanding.
oh, so what you're saying is not dependent on my level of education?
Not your level of education or of your
my pay rate?
not your pay rate,
My
not your criminal record.
Oh wow.
None of that shit matters.
Wow. Now that's deep, family.
None of that shit matters. They say, look,
That's deep because the corporation will make you seem like now when you saying my record, see now the corporate make you feel like you're
they'll pull out a rap sheet this long and try to discredit anything that you got to say because your rap sheet this long. And if you don't have the understanding to understand it, that is man's law. That ain't spiritual law. You will discredit somebody the Lord sent to give you a message.
Wow. Where did you get that from? Who taught you that?
Spiritual understanding.
It's
It's something I prayed for. I fasted for it.
That's interesting. A clean heart. Not you see what I'm saying? Ooh, that's major right there. when that's what the outcome is a clean heart.
And you see that word thrown off in their consciousness.
Yes. He had the consciousness of the new flood of life. The new flood of life that comes to all who open their minds and their bodies to the living word of God.
Everybody woke. The word consciousness
The living word
has been equated to woke. You got consciousness, you got woke. And these words have been mixed in together. But I just want to say that
So what you saying, that they don't mean the same?
that is not the same.
Oh, okay.
Family.
Okay.
Because once you get a degree of consciousness,
Okay.
it's like a light went off in your head that makes you say, wait a minute. Now I have to question everything damn near that I've been told. So a lot of us, we get that degree of boom, light, but the questioning is there, but we stop right there and say, I know this shit ain't right, so I'm woke. But how can you explain that? What's not right? How did you come to that part?
Gotcha.
And how can you take someone from that part to the next step of conscious awareness? Not just woke,
Gotcha.
but now you can what's the word? I can articulate
Yes.
my spiritual knowledge or understanding to someone that asked me something other than, well, shit, I'm just woke now. You know, the government doing it, or Jesus ain't really real, or it was 16 Christ or 50 Christ. But how can you really articulate that in a wise manner
Wisdom.
where you don't
Gotcha.
beat and batter up the people that you're talking to?
Wisdom. Yeah, wisdom. And my answer to that would be two ways. One I wouldn't say is more important than the other, but one way would be, of course, to exercise it in your everyday living, so these people can see.
Come on now.
They can actually see a change. You remember, the places I used to go, I don't go no more. The things I used to say, I don't say no. You see what I'm saying? That's one of the parts of being able to incorporate the wisdom in what we're labeling woke. You see what I'm saying? Or expressing this consciousness that the author is talking about here when he says this new flood. You see what I'm saying? That comes to all who open their minds and their bodies, you see, to the living word. So when an example of that would be the way you living, what you showing them. And then, of course, the other part would be just like you saying, being able to articulate. And not only articulate, let me add a 2B or a third part, if you will. Not only being able to articulate it, you see, but give this individual that you're speaking to some type of go-to, you know what I mean, versus just a bunch of egotistical, like you're saying.
I know this now.
It's 16 Jesus, and and this ain't, that ain't real, and the court want you to do this. You see what I'm saying? Go deeper than that and show them in real time some, you see what I'm saying, some jewels or some steps that they can take that's logical to them.
Right.
That's would be my answer, because that's what I would be considering expressing wisdom in this concept of the 12 powers of man and understanding and intelligence and wisdom. You see all of the four. You see what I'm saying, that we at the top of the show was expressing all these principles.
Give me one more for the Hebrew Israelites.
Right.
Jesus did not let the limited race thought about man keep him from doing the works of spirit. He knew that the light of truth had arisen in his consciousness, and he was not afraid to affirm it. He went right ahead, healing the sick and teaching the truth as he saw it, regardless of the traditions of the Hebrew fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He kept the light shining in his consciousness by being loyal to it and making for himself the highest statements of truth that he could conceive. The Christ mind speaking in him said, I am the light of the world. Now this right here, man, speaks volumes to me and probably to everybody that has begun this path.
Wow.
I'm going to tell you why for me. He said,
that just explains what we were talking about.
Come on, man.
How to express it.
Come on. He said, he knew that the light of the truth had arisen in him, in his consciousness, and he was not afraid to affirm it. You know, when you get degrees of knowledge, it can be scary to you because for example, when I was at 1 degree in learning about Jesus and the origin of Jesus and the Christ figures that came before him, I was saying, wait a minute, a lot of the shit I've been told it's not true. And there was a part inside of me that said, man, you might be going against God now. You might be, wait a minute now, the devil might have you now because you know how they say the devil just is smarter than Jesus.
Right.
So it's a part in your own mind that you have to slay. You know, when you come into these different degrees of knowledge to be able to continue on to get to the next one. So once I was able to say, you know what? Truth is a process. It's not a one-time deal. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna tell you why. This is Einstein speaking in this part. But he says, I have only 2 rules which I regard as principles of conduct. The first is, have no rules. And the second is, be independent of the opinion of others. Why did I go back to that and say that? I said that because he said the first part is have no rules.
Come on now.
Now, if I was brought up one way,
right,
and I let that be my soul,
gotcha,
as far as I'm going with it,
I see.
There's no breaking that.
I see.
I'm not gonna break that and say, well, damn, maybe I shouldn't have believed it. No, I'm gonna be like, I don't care what that say. This is what it is. I'm not going against it. Or it could say, I ain't never eaten pork in my life, and then something happened and I wouldn't have been able to eat for 6 days, and all I could eat is a piece of bacon.
Right.
I'm gonna starve to death, or I'm gonna be like, God must got something. I gotta eat this to survive. So it's rules, but you can't have a set of rules because what to say your survival is dependent upon breaking those rules. Yeah. And the second part is really what I'm trying to get to.
Change is constant.
Is when it says, the truth had arisen in his consciousness, he was not afraid to affirm it. He went ahead, healing the sick and teaching the truth. Now, when we come to this new knowledge,
healing the sick and teaching the truth,
come to this new knowledge, we might not want to say what needs to be said because it's different, and the people that's been knowing us for all our lives is going to talk and say all type of slanderous things about us because we are actually on our spiritual journey. Mm-hmm. Even when I was in the streets, man, doing this, that, and the third before the light.
Yeah.
I take that back. Right after the light.
Gotcha.
Let me go back to church.
Mm-hmm.
Why was it when I said I'm gonna go back to church? Oh man, Barlene done got saved.
God.
Now he in church. Damn, I thought that was all right. But now it's cause for people to cause slander. So that's another reason why you can't worry about what people say. If you know you're on this path or you have been touched, then what's more important to your spirit? Something that has came upon you from on high, or what some nigga you been knowing for 10, 15 years gonna feel and say about you and spread about you. So it's the decision you have to make not to worry about what people say. If you're gonna be doing the work, you gotta do the work and not worry about what people say. You gotta, what that man say, heal the sick and teach the truth.
So like, just to add to that, you see what I'm saying? Me, personally, like I said on my social media, man, I've been, you know what I mean, I started to practice social distancing back in 2014. You dig what I'm saying? I started that in 2014, me personally, like mid-April 2014.
So this shit is a breeze to you.
Made a conscious effort to, you know what I mean, heal myself. You know, go through this spiritual cleansing, you see, which of course is an ongoing process. It's never ending. But as you go, you're supposed to get stronger. Just like you keep going to that gym, you keep doing them push-ups, you keep, you know what I mean? You okay, now you done went from walking the goddamn on track, now you running a couple of laps. You see, in the spirit realm, that's how a spirit man work out, the same way. And it, of course, the workout regimen is more mind-based. Documentaries.
That's why we tell you get these tools.
See? Biographies, autobiographies, you see, of course, online researching, etc. And that online researching, if you really for real, should lead you to Amazon and have a book coming to your front door after, you see what I'm saying? If you really serious. And that's what I'm talking about when I say me personally, in 2014 started to practice that. And just like the good brother say, have endured some of this, oh, he crazy. Oh, what's wrong? What he saying? Well, he done changed his name. He don't eat meat no more.
Oh man,
he don't, how he
ain't that crazy?
Where you gonna get his protein? Where you gonna get your protein from? You don't eat meat no more. Oh, you skinny. You get skinny like I told him. You know what I'm saying? I'm trim. You understand me?
That's another misunderstanding.
Absolutely.
They think because you're eating good,
you know what I mean,
does not equate to eating healthy.
Yeah, man.
They think because you can go get the biggest steak and the biggest shrimp that's not eating healthy. It's eating a lot.
You know what I'm saying?
But it's not eating healthy.
Yeah.
So
all the way to fast forward till now, you know what I mean? I can testify to say that I'm, you know what I mean, not only me, but my household, you know what I mean, my queen and 3 of our children, you see? I can testify to the fact that the conscious decision that I made in mid-April 2014 trickled down to the household. Now I'm saying that to say this, to where we're all pretty much on a 1 full meal diet a day.
Come on, man.
7 days a week. We as a family pretty much eat 1 full meal. You see, without all of the what we call snacking. You see. Now what's the moral of that story? The moral of that story is, in my research, all of the masters, the greats, I'm talking about the businessmen, entrepreneurs, Elijah Muhammad. You see what I'm saying?
I just pulled my book out the store, Eat to Live.
You see what I'm saying?
I just pulled it out.
You see? And that Eat to Live, Elijah Muhammad is one of the brothers that I'm speaking of. We call him Lil J, but he's known to the world as J Prince. When you go into his book, you see what I'm saying? Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. You see what I'm saying? The moral of the story is, these masters, they testify to eating 1 full meal a day as well. And they stress how, you see what I'm saying, we've been programmed in this Western world, you see, to feel like we've been deprived of, you see what I'm saying, this food, to where that's what we got, you see what I'm saying, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, snack in the middle, midnight snack, etc. Where we think, you see what I'm saying, that's post-traumatic slave disorder. You see, that makes us think that we're missing out on a meal, to where we're hoarding food and all. We can all attest to, you see what I'm saying, that refrigerator, we having to throw some food out. We can all attest to that. We done overdid.
Well, they say your eyes are bigger than your bed.
You see what I'm saying? And the moral of the story is this is spiritual. It's spiritual. You know what I mean? It takes discipline. You see this is what Jesus is talking about in here.
You know what?
The discipline part of it.
Not only is that in the physical, that's also in the mental and the intellectual, because at some point you can intellectually masturbate too much, where you read too much,
there you go,
and you're not acting on nothing you read.
Ooh, right on.
Then you're gonna be stagnant as well. At some point in time, you gotta put the books down and
do.
You got to live and do. Facts, man.
You said
Facts,
something,
man.
You said something.
Facts. Good.
And that's the wisdom.
Yes, yes, sir.
Putting it in action.
Yes, sir.
Instead of, like you're saying, just intellectually masturbating and being able to, you know what I mean?
Be the smartest one in the
Yeah,
room,
yeah.
but you're still fucked up.
Yeah, that don't make, that's degenerate. Yeah, you defeating the purpose.
Yeah, because now your ego has taken over.
Yeah.
You wanna be the smartest. You wanna know the most. You know, that's what made me
You'll never do
to get back to the lecture with the brother A.A. Rashid, because this like I say, this was my time of I had bashed the church and talked shit about people that they don't know nothing and they this and that. But
Zeal.
These people, man, got shit. These people living all right. So how can I be bashing them?
Right.
And I have not went through the process of using information I've learned to change the quality of my life and those around me. So if I'm just intellectually masturbating and telling people what I know, but I'm not showing, that's a non-factor. The supreme mathematics say show and prove. So you can show your wisdom and show your knowledge off and everything that you have, but if you can't prove on how it's going to actually change the quality of your life, then you're playing games. You're playing games, and you have shown that you have reached the point where your growth, like you said, has been stunted. It's a wall right here standing in front of you.
You're shrinking now. You're shrinking. And again, see, we all have that ability to shrink. I think we're far enough in it. If you've been following us, you know that the good brother that we've been talking about, we live life in cycles of 7. You see, from 0 to 7, that baby has learned something. From 7 to 14, that baby has learned. You're feeling a different way. All the way to 49. That's where we get this concept over the hill. Because 49, you reach your 7th cycle. And then you start all over at 50. You see how this working, family? And you're supposed to be developing, you see, physically and spiritually. That's the whole point, you see. And as you pass the test, you get to go to the next course or the next class, you see. And then, of course, like we're saying, there is a level to where you can get to where you are needing to do more than just sit back and continue to read. You see what I'm saying? You're supposed to build up this information, supposed to start boiling inside of you to where it encourages you to start doing. You know what I mean? Versus just bumping off at the gums, you know what I mean? About, I don't go to the church, I don't do that, I don't get it, all that.
Hey, what you just said about them 7 years though is on the money, because a lot of people don't know nothing about the Saturn return.
There you have it. That's exactly.
Again, those are intervals of 7.
Yeah, man.
And when you turn 28, 7 times 4, that is your Saturn return. I implore you guys, if you are in this age group, or even if you have been through that, think back. First of all, go look up your Saturn return. And it's going to tell you what this time period is about. But it was when you was 28. And see where your life was and what you were doing and the level of understanding you were at and what you were going through. Because again, these are cycles of God.
Man, I was about to lose my mama, man. My mama would transition when I turned 29. So I know, you see? Yeah, I was about, you know what I mean? Yeah, man. Matter of fact, you know what I mean? My born day 7/29, right? My mama was in the hospital, you see? In Good Shepherd, to be exact, at the time. You know what I mean? The year that I would turn 29, you see, which would be 05. And I always wondered what I would be doing when I turned 29, because, you know, that I'm a 7/29, that's my born day. I always wondered, like, I wonder what it's going to be like when I turn 29. Make a long story short, man, I turned 29 on a Friday. And my mama was laying in the hospital bed. You see, at that time, we had just found out 4 days.
Wow.
4 days before that. Yeah, well, matter of fact, 3 days, because it was the 26th when the doctors actually told me and my brother, you know what I mean, what the results was or whatever when they ran them on. But we took her, me and my wife, me and my queen took my mama on the 25th. You see? So I'm saying that because I'm 28 at this time.
And it was really a change in your life
Man.
that you could never forget.
Man, never ever. Yeah, so that hit me when you said that.
And then, man, that made, like, I just felt something on a whole other level. Because I remember you telling me that it was when you were in the womb,
Yeah.
when your mother said,
She gave her life to the Lord. In her words, yeah, like
and
that.
then on your Saturn return is when we're seeing,
Wow.
you know, the transition phase.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
And
that's a fact.
from then to now, your, you know what I'm saying, your path
Yeah.
has went from what I see,
Mm-hmm.
the evolution of that child in the womb in the flesh.
Sure.
That's cold.
That's cold.
That's cold, man.
That's cold. That's cold.
We're gonna talk about that on another show because I'm
Exactly.
talking about something that we had off
I got
camera,
you, though.
but it came to me now. I'm like,
Saturn.
golly.
Yeah, I got you though. Yeah.
Because I didn't know that part about the 28 year, 29. I didn't know that. But
Yeah,
now that's
man.
like, because we were talking about how spiritual that was, before they could do that.
Yeah, yeah.
We're going to come back to that. I got one more thing I want to read.
That's heavy. What page you on? Still on 40?
I'm right up under that last one I read.
Oh, okay.
I'm on 40.
Got you. I got that. What's that?
Spiritual understanding
Yeah.
is developed in a multitude of ways.
Multitude.
No two persons have exactly the same experience.
Okay.
One may be Saul, to whom the light comes in a blinding flash,
Blinding flash.
while another, the light may come gently and harmoniously.
That's how it came from me.
The sudden breaking forth of the light indicates existence of stored up reservoirs
Okay.
of spiritual experiences gained from previous lives.
Okay. Gotcha. That's the Saturn return. That's what
Look.
you're talking about.
Because
Yeah.
one form of light came for me.
Yup.
My brother just said another one came for him.
Absolutely.
It's not going to be the same. And I'll say this. One of my taglines is, I seen the light.
Mm-hmm.
That phrase is a whole show in itself I have to get into on another time.
Right on.
But this is not, for me, an allegorical saying. This is an actual experience I went through where I seen the light
Real time.
come from the heavens and hit me.
Come
And
on.
opened me up to a whole new spiritual awareness.
Whole new world.
A whole new world that I didn't even know existed.
Man.
Had no idea that this world existed. And it was in a blinding flash, the same way that happened to Saul in the good book, the Bible, in Acts 9. Go read Acts 9 and see what happened to Saul and his change and his whole consciousness. Same experience happened to me. My brother said his was more harmonious.
Mm-hmm.
But we
Yeah.
we came
Yeah.
to the same, we ended up at the same location
Yes. Yes.
with the deeper understanding of the mysteries, because it opened up the mysteries,
Man.
you know, of life
Yes.
to me. And, you know, that to me,
A whole
that's
new
what
world.
is meant by baptized with fire. The
Yeah.
second baptism
Yes.
will be a fire.
Yes.
You know, you can say that
That's it.
the first baptism. You can say the first baptism is when you go to church and they dip you in the water. But I'm gonna go a little deeper and say that first baptism is when you come out of that womb
Uh-oh.
of that water.
Ah.
Is when your eyes are first open to hear.
Ah.
And then the second baptism is of light or fire.
Mhm.
This is what they talk about when they say you must be born again. It's not you're not gonna die physically and be born again, because as it just said right here, we've had several lives before we come into these bodies we in now. And you can tell, I know everybody heard somebody say, this child done been here.
There you have it.
What you think they mean by this? It means this child was born with a greater understanding as a child than some adults have in their adulthood.
There you have it. Unadulterated.
So how did they get it? These are from the experience from their previous lives. Not die right now and you're born. Nah, man, this is deeper than rap.
You said something deep.
It's deeper than rap,
It's
man.
deep and deeper, way deeper than your favorite. I got to catch up with my show. Way deeper than that too. You have to make it your business to attempt to crack the code. That's when the universe will assist you. You see, ask and ye shall receive. Man, listen,
Ooh.
I'm a living example of that right there, man.
Go right there. Go right there.
41.
That's right there where it say be. That's what you just said.
Be there a will, then wisdom finds a way. Is that where you at?
Yeah, but keep on going to what you just said though.
No one ever attained spiritual consciousness without striving for it. That's it.
Keep on, a little bit more. Give me a little more.
The first step is to ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. Prayer is one form of asking, seeking, and knocking. Then make your mind receptive to the higher understanding through silent meditations and affirmations of truth. The earnest desire to understand spiritual things will open the way, and revelation within and without will follow. The earnest desire to understand spiritual things will open the way, and revelation within and without will follow. See, that all of that, man, you said something, bro. For real. You pointed me right to the action. Because that's this whole no routine. And when we say no routine, we talking about we got to sit down right now and know. You see? You remember we said, family, we using our alchemy. And we transmuting all this energy into something that we can use righteously. So again, we talking about no routine. And right now we up under a no routine. That's what it said right
on,
here.
Man.
You see, that's what it said.
Come on, man.
It said this right here. You see? That through silent, get it now, don't miss it. Walk with me, don't miss it. Through silent meditations and affirmations of truth. Now, ain't this the time to be silent and still, and you see what I'm saying? And get your affirmations in your mind right so you can speak the word into existence, because the word is God. Ain't this the opportune time? Ain't this the most opportune? You see what I'm
So
saying?
stop looking at this as some type of punishment because you can't do this and do this.
Come on.
Look
Come
at
on.
this as
Get
a
your Debo
blessing.
up. You see? Get your
There you
Debo
go.
up in the spirit realm. Because this is the key. The earnest desire to understand spiritual things will open the way, and revelation within and without will follow.
Man.
Revelation. I mean, I done got the answer. I done figured it out. That's what revelation is.
Within and then
And without.
you
That's
seeing the
without.
manifestation
Oh,
of
come
what
on,
you
man.
figured out.
Come on. I ain't just talking about it, I'm being about it. You can see me, you see what I'm saying, progressing and growing in a righteous fashion. You can see it. I got to be able to show you that. Display it with my lifestyle. Huh? That's being about it. Going back to what we're saying here now is the most opportune time. You got the best opportunity you could have right now as it relates to, you see what I'm saying? You ain't no excuse now.
No excuse.
There's no excuse. You have to find something to do other than what you've been trying to do, because all the mainstream, jumping around and, you feel, getting together and, and indulging in a lot of, watch this now, low vibrational degenerate
It
behavior.
is what it is.
Let's be honest, a lot of low vibrational degenerate behavior. That's really what we trying. You see what I'm saying? Again, let me exclude myself because I've been healed. I know better. Sit down somewhere, you know.
And let me say this.
Man,
Well, I'm glad you said that. Well, let me say this because let
still.
me bring in the Maiatian principle of what you just said.
Because
Because I might be out here on some whole ratchet time, but I have the
balance.
Come on, that's all I gotta say.
Thank you.
And so now
That's the key. That's very important. Yeah,
I just
seriously.
want to keep it 1,000.
Yeah, that's the key.
But you
know
can't have your
what
scale.
I mean?
Can't.
There you go.
Can't be
That's
like
it. That's it. In a nutshell, right there. That's it. Yeah, balance for sure.
Let's bring this thing to a balance.
Because
y'all.
once again, we already know inside know what you talking about, and that you talking about is way more fruitful than this what we talking about. You understand what I'm saying? That the activity that you talking about, you're indulging in, is far from. You know what I'm saying? This that we speaking of.
Because we're gonna take it from the black and white into the real life,
Yeah.
into the reality of what
That's
we're
it.
going through. Hey, but I want to say this: last 2 shows, man, we were going in so tough. We ain't get to close out.
Oh yeah, because we better do it right this time.
We got to close this thing out and let you folk know, man, because
Do that.
that thing get away from us real quick.
Yeah,
once
do
we,
that.
cause we're at the point right now, we'll be like, throw this book down, we'll go in and go in
Everything cut out.
off the head,
The
man.
last 2 shows we ain't been able to.
I ain't even been able to cut the show off, man.
Yeah.
Listen, this is, man, what we call Walk With Me.
Walk with me. Podcast. You see what I'm saying? We inside the press box. This is your good brother's second son. And second with a K. S-U-N. Because I am Carolyn's second son. This is my good brother.
Arlene, I just want to say the 12 powers of man, which we reading out of and speaking out of, man.
We ain't gonna quit.
It's one of the tools, man, that I have been able to use to gain understanding. And if you are trying to gain understanding, I implore you to get this book. I hope that you came in here and you hit the like button. If you this far right now and you ain't hit the like button, you're tripping.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope you subscribe to this. Go over to my brother's channel, Second Son. He just told you how it's spelled out. Second with a K, Son with a U. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube.
We going
And,
in. Because over there, we just, like we're saying, it's a constituent to this podcast right here at the press box. That's how we serve it as a constituent.
I feel like we on some Jesus John the Baptist time in here, man. This is my cousin, man.
First cousin.
Yes, sir, man. That's how we got here, man.
That's straight up, though. Straight up. You know what I mean? And that's not even to be egotistical at all.
No.
That's what this is. Seriously. You know what I mean? No different than Marcus Garvey and Drew Ali.
Come on, man. So, man, with that being said, I just want to say thank y'all for tuning in. You know, I
Appreciate it. Yeah, especially if you come this far, we appreciate it.
Yeah, man, and come back because we ain't finished yet. We ain't finished with this one yet. We're gonna wrap this one up. We probably got maybe 2 or 3 more shows.
Yeah.
In this one.
Yeah, or maybe because we just been eating it up, man. Really, we went through the basis of the book on the cool, but we just hadn't just officially split it up in these different chapters. But we right there, and we ain't gonna quit. We gonna keep cooking it up. You know what I'm saying? We appreciate y'all again for rocking with us, and till the next time. Peace.